So to our top story today, President Trump arrived in Davos with a message for delegates at the World Economic Forum. You were wrong. A year ago, some of them had predicted Trump's protectionist rhetoric would lead to sluggish economic growth and lackluster stock market gains. That hasn't exactly happened, and the president is not about to let it go unnoticed. Joining us now is Bloomberg editor Jodi Schneider. So, Jodi, first day in Davos for Trump. It seems like it was very celebrity status and how he was welcomed.
Yeah, well, he wanted to go there very clearly to say, I won.
I told you so.
I told you so. Take a victory lap. That the stock market's doing well, unemployment is down in the U.S. He was able to get a tax bill passed, and that U.S. business leaders are back in back on his side. They have been happy with the tax bill and the deregulatory moves he's made. So it's a bit of a victory lap. But in his speech, he's going to have to be a bit more nuanced and thread a needle that may be a little tough to do, both trying to say that his America First policies, while working, they can also coexist with globalism. And that might be a hard message to pull off. And again, he's a very unpredictable speaker. We don't know exactly what he's going to say. He may have a few surprises in there for the world global.
We already saw some surprises on how he's been talking about the dollar, some mixed messages there with Mnuchin. Right. I mean, what if we do hear that kind of America First trade rhetoric of, we're just getting started here with these tariffs when it comes to not just solar panels, we're going to go steel, aluminum. I mean, that could really contrast all the progress and I guess the optimism that we've been seeing and how he's been received in Davos.
Yeah, although he made, I think part of his reasoning on doing on taking the action with the tariffs before going to Davos is to kind of do the tough message on trade, a political message as well, and then perhaps to come to Davos and somewhat soften it, saying, yes, it has to be America first, but we want trade. It just has to benefit the U.S., and we're not going to allow unfair trade practices. But that can exist with globalism. Please invest your money in the U.S. That, I think, is going to be the kind of message that he will give, which will be, we will see how it is received. But because he already did the tough action, now he can come back and soften it a bit. Then that's that's the kind of move we have seen this president make in speeches in the past, especially on the world stage.
Right, Jodi, you mentioned that yesterday, that we have seen hard words, and then it's a little bit different once he does take the public stage at these events. But Jodi, I want to turn more to domestic issues because he left behind some pretty important news here on the Dreamers, right? The so-called children who've been brought over by illegal immigrants. This news out that now there seems to be a pathway of citizenship for up to 1.8 million of them. How big of a deal is this in terms of getting support from both sides now?
Yeah, this is actually an important move. President Trump a few months ago said that he would not that he would not abide by the Obama-era DACA, the plan you mentioned that would allow children of people brought to the U.S. as children who are now young undocumented immigrants. He would not allow that plan to continue, but he'd come up with something else. He wanted Congress to come up with something else. And as we saw, Congress had a fight over this. They shut the government down for 3 days over it. Right. And now he is saying, here is my plan, Congress. Here's what I want you to do. It would allow for as many as 1.8 million of these immigrants to stay in the U.S., provided that they meet certain conditions. Right. It would give them a path to citizenship. But he also is asking for a very significant $25 billion in funds from Congress to build a wall, a trust fund, to build that southern wall, that wall with Mexico, and also for enhanced security at ports of entry in the U.S. So it's a lot of money. There's also some other conditions that people coming to the U.S., that he would get rid of this visa lottery system. People coming to the U.S. could bring children. They could not bring parents or other relatives, and that could be hard for some Democrats. But he is giving congressional leaders, Republican leaders, a framework now for immigrants immigration, which they've been waiting for. They were kind of loath to jump into this issue and to say and to come up with legislation themselves, not sure whether he would support it. Now he's saying, here's my framework, and I think we'll see this move forward. They want it to move forward quickly. They'd like it to be acted on before that next spending bill needs to be passed, which is February 8th.